Dark Crystals, not the Dark Crystal, the 1982 Jim Henson and Frank Oz fantasy adventure movie. My absolutely terrible take on a platformer game that was released several years ago on the Google Play Store.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
This game was built off a platformer tutorial, 2D Unity style on lynda.com. I essentially followed through the videos and built out the game based on the tutorial videos, learned the concepts, learned all the moving parts behind the scenes, and at the end of the series I had an exactly identical copy of the instructor's game. So I decided to throw it on source control and try and make it my own. But at the end of the day, what I released to the Google Play Store was an absolute nightmare. Not only did I use a vast majority of the existing artwork from the instructor, I took his artwork and made a couple tweaks to it, color swapping and whatnot, and coined it off as my own, which was, in retrospect, an absolutely atrocious idea. So I'm making this video to kind of go through that process and show off some of that game a little bit and really use it as a retrospective piece for future projects that I'm going to be working on. So let's go ahead and take a look at the project. This video is sponsored by
Are you serious?
Oh, who am I kidding? I don't have that many subscribers yet.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
So without further ado, I present Dark Crystals. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Dark Crystals was built off of a PC platformer tutorial and ultimately converted into a mobile game for Android. I essentially made a very bare bones menu screen, and yeah, that's really all I can say for this screen. So playing the game, we'll go ahead and start from scene 1. And right off the bat, you'll see that I took a majority of the instructor's artwork and coined it off as my own. And I am not an artist by any means, so these colors were absolutely atrocious. Everything from the menus to the UI to the overlay screens to the pop-up text, everything is just a clustered mess. So the premise of the game is to venture through the 10 levels and not get smoked by spikes and aliens, and to collect the dark crystals to teleport to the next level. Once you hit level 10, the game's over, and that's it for the storyline. Most of the gameplay shown here is just to display some of the components that I'm going to talk about later in the video. From the projectiles of the enemies that if you collide with, you essentially restart the level, to the spikes spread out across the levels that, you guessed it, if you run into them, you will die. To the switch activating doors throughout the world, to interactable objects that can be moved and used to break other elements like glass. So yeah, really there's not a whole lot of groundbreaking content in this video as far as layout and level design. I really just used the in-tutorial map editor to build out a couple levels, and then on top of that I added some components that I thought at the time would embellish the game, but in reality they're just terrible and really poorly planned out. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates.